Okay, we will call this meeting to order at 5:03. And we acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. And I'll ask any questions and then call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Got to remember to sign these. First meeting, bear with me. Battle through it together. Okay. Moved by Councillor Reel, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, and that be the regular Council meeting of March the 22nd, 2021. Any questions on that one? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, whereas the Municipal Act Section 162 states each member of the council must attend the public hearing unless the member is excused by the other members from attending the hearing, is unable to attend due to illness, or is required under the Municipal Council Conflict of Interest Act to withdraw from the hearing. And be it resolved that council excuses the following council member from the April 6, 2021 public hearing, and that would be Mayor Dohan. Any questions on that? I will call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried. Okay. Moved by Councillor Reel, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. And any questions on that? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. I'm just going right into her, eh? Okay. Okay, council will now commence to hear representations from the applicant and any other persons who wish to make representation for the scheduled public hearing under the Planning Act. As I read out the names on my list of registered participants, please indicate if you are present. It looks like both of you are here. Jillian Sullivan and Robin Sneath, you can both put your hands up at the same time. It's actually awesome to see people on video for once. Usually people call in and they don't put themselves on video for these, so that's great. Okay, anyone who has not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearing, please state your name so we can include you in the proceedings. There's no one here, of course, and it doesn't look like there's anyone online, so we will breeze through that. And we will now proceed with the public hearing for rezoning application 12.08.378200/RZ-21-01/01 for owner and applicant Blue Hills Holdings Limited, care of Jillian Sullivan, for the rezoning of SP Lot 4, Plan 3160 DLTO, that's 103 Oak Avenue, from residential single family RSF to residential multiple family RMF to allow for the construction of an approximately 5,800 square foot single story fourplex dwelling with separate attached garages on a single zoning site to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Would the applicants like to speak in favor of the application?
Hi there. Thanks so much for having us. Nice to see you all again. I think now we know we can get away with just calling in next time, so maybe you won't see us for a while. Yeah, so we last time we were presenting on behalf of Sneath Projects and Bowerbird Holdings, and this time it's Blue Hills Holdings, and that's a company that Jillian and I established together with our husbands. So we do all of the work and they try and claim a small amount of the credit, but we're careful not to allow that. And so our plan for this spot, maybe I can actually just tell you a little bit about how we came to purchase this lot. So As you all know, we've been doing more and more work in Dauphin and have really enjoyed getting to know the city better in the last couple of years, and really became interested a couple of years ago in the idea of doing some new build development in Dauphin, seeing that there's an opportunity in the market there. And so we met with a couple of representatives from the city, Steve Sobering and Carissa, and did a few tours around to survey what available lots were there. And this one, the Oak Avenue one, was a surplus lot that the city had listed. And as soon as we saw it, it was no question for us. We all really loved it. It has some mature trees on it, and it has a beautiful view onto a field, and it's a really nice established neighborhood. And so we put in an offer and it was accepted about a year ago. I think it was about last spring that we took possession. And then we started the process of trying to decide what would be the best thing to build on the spot. And so, again, these were conversations that we had with various representatives from the city, as well as with a local realtor, just to get a better sense of what would be the best and highest use of this piece of property, and where the greatest need was for the city. And so that's why we eventually settled on a fourplex that is targeted towards seniors that will enable them to age in place. So the idea of it is that it will be zero entry or fully accessible. So no stairs, wider doorways, a more accessible washroom, and that will allow people to downsize and to stay in their own homes for longer. I'm sure that's something that we're already turning our minds to. So I thought, well, eventually we need to build one of these for us. We've got a few years left yet before we need that, hopefully. But yeah, but we're really excited about the possibility of bringing something like this to Dauphin. I know that there is already something like this there, but I think from what we understand, there's a significant need to meet seniors housing. And so another perk of this is the close proximity to the hospital, I think would be a benefit to people who are thinking about staying there for a long time. Our plan with the design was to come settle on something that is really aesthetically pleasing, very functional, and takes full use of, or makes full use of the land. And so there's a really nice field. I know there's no guarantee it's going to be there forever, but for now, there's a really nice view out to the back. And so we plan to alter the plan slightly so that there are two forms of entry, so that there's a nice back door and everyone will have a patio area. We did settle on adding the garages and driveways in the front, so that way we can accommodate two vehicles per unit. And, we all know what it's like in the Manitoba winters here. We both live in character homes that are 110 years old, and we don't have the perk of an attached garage. And so that is one thing that we do aspire to having one day. And so we know that that's a luxury, particularly for people who are aging and don't want to worry about slipping on the ice outside. So that's how we settled on this particular plan. And then with the style, we really love the idea of having that front porch veranda. And our goal with all of our projects is always to make the neighborhood that we're joining better. So we want to make sure that this is a beautiful, really aesthetically pleasing place that enhances what's already a really lovely established neighborhood. So the plan would be to add little covered verandas out front, and to have some really nice decorative columns, and to use some hardy panels and really nice garage doors. So that way, these are really pleasing to the streetscape and contribute to enhancing that. Our plan in terms of timeline would be to get going as soon as we can with this. We know that we are in a bit of a time crunch, that was one of the conditions of the sale. And so we would like to move ahead with the construction as soon as we can.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Does council have any questions for clarification purposes before we move forward? Councillor Eilers.
Yes, it looks like a great plan. I was just wondering, where would your driveway be to these garages? Because I'm looking at this and there's mature trees, right? Is that where it'll be off Oaks Avenue?
Yes, yeah. On the driveways will come off of Oak Ave.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will try to keep as many of the mature trees as we can.
Okay. Because I'm just counting, there'll probably have to be a removal for at least 4, 5.
Yeah, so we will definitely do our best to keep as many as we possibly can.
And you will plant more if.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure
Yeah,
we'd be happy
yeah.
to do that.
I always feel if you remove trees, the mature trees, you should replant. That's a kind of a plan of our community's bloom. So thank
Yeah,
you.
that seems fair for sure.
Any other questions from councillors? Okay, well, with that being said, the representations for this public hearing are now completed. Thank you to those who joined us for this public hearing. Awesome stuff. Jillian and Robin, again, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, we'll just continue on here. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried.
So are we free to leave now then, or should we
Yeah,
stick
well, you can
around for a
around
bit?
regular meeting is open to the public, so
Okay.
pretty entertaining
right, well.
stuff. So
Okay, well, thanks so much for having us and
Yep.
for giving us the opportunity to present and to do more development in your community. We
thanks very
appreciate
much.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
You
You
too.
too.
Thanks.
it. Bye.
Okay, moved by Councillor Bellemere, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the public hearing for rezoning application 12.08.378200/RZ-21-01/01 for owner and applicant Blue Hills Holdings Limited, care of Jillian Sullivan, for the rezoning of SP Lot 4, Plan 3160 DLTO, that's 103 Oak Avenue, from a residential single family to a residential multiple family to allow for the construction of an approximately 5,800 square foot single story fourplex dwelling with separate attached garages on a single zoning site to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Now be concluded. That is a run-on sentence. Any questions? I will call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemere, whereas due notice was given with the respect to rezoning application 12.08.378200/RZ-21-01/01, and whereas no objections were received to said application, be it resolved that rezoning application 12.08.378200/RZ-21-01/01 for owner and applicant Blue Hills Holdings Limited, care of Jillian Sullivan, for the rezoning of SP Lot Plan 3160 DLTO from residential single family to residential multiple family to allow for the construction of an approximately 5,800 square foot single story fourplex dwelling with separate attached garages on a single zoning site to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw, be approved with the following conditions. Number one, a major variance will be required to permit a reduced front yard for a multiple family zone from a required minimum of 9 to 6.9 meters to comply with the bulk requirements of the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. Number 2, a major variance will be required to permit a reduced interior side yard for a multiple family zone from a required minimum of 3.5 meters to 2.74 meters to comply with the bulk requirements of the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. Number 3, a major variance will be required to permit a reduced corner side yard for a multiple family zone from a required minimum of 4.5 meters to 2.7 meters to comply with the bulk requirements for the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. And number 4, a major variance will be required to permit a reduced rear yard for a multiple family zone from a required minimum of 7.5 meters to 4.58 meters to comply with the bulk requirements of the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015. Any questions on that? I shall call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Any opposed? Should get that in there. Good. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Real. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. Action items, proclamation, Invasive Species Awareness Week. And I guess that means it's time for me to read away here. Proclamation, whereas invasive species can result in the loss of Manitoba's unique ecosystems and native species, and whereas the activities of people are most often responsible for introduction of a species to a new area, and whereas preventing the introduction of an invasive species to a new area is the most effective way to manage it, and whereas increasing awareness of the threats of invasive species will help prevent the introduction and spread of invasive species. Now, therefore, we, the council, the city of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim April 18th to the 24th, 2021 as Invasive Species Awareness Week. And that is dated at the City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba, this 6th day of April 2021. And I get to sign for that. Whenever I hear the word invasive species, I think of zebra mussels. I don't know what it is, but I think of zebra mussels. So yeah, but there's lots of them for sure. Be it resolved that council proclaims April 18th to 24th, 2021, as I mentioned, Invasive Species Awareness Week, and that is recommended by the Deputy Mayor and City Manager. Number 2 on the consent to agenda, outstanding water accounts added to taxes. Be it resolved that the following outstanding water accounts be added to taxes. 212 6th Avenue Southwest, $31.89. The current owner did not pay the final utility bill. 319 3rd Avenue Northeast, the previous tenant did not pay the final utility bill there. That was for $37.50. And then 601 Dorothy Street for $146.16. The current owner did not pay final utility bill. And that is recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. Number 3, outstanding accounts receivable added to taxes. Be it resolved that the following accounts receivable be added to taxes. 1016 Mountain Road, $53.19, a fine for untidy property. The same for 1014 Mountain Road, $53.19 for an untidy property. And 14 5th Avenue Southeast, $53.19, a fine under bylaw 10/2019 section 4E, as recommended by the Director of Finance and the Tax Clerk. Filing items, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, AMM of course, Spring Convention, General Insurance Program renewal, news releases for March 22nd of this year and the 29th, and member advisory on March the 25th. Federation of Canadian Municipalities, that's FCM, FCM Connect, March 23rd and March 30th editions, along with the President's Corner for March 31st. The Manitoba media releases for March 26th, 2021. Municipal Relations 2021 Municipal Financial Plan and Tax Levy Bylaw Filing Deadlines, and the Mandatory Codes of Conduct online training. Manitoba Infrastructure 2021 Wildfire Preparedness Seminars. Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development, the Watson Arts Center Chimney Swift. Mountain View School Division News Digest for March 22nd. Community Futures Parkland, the 2021 grants and awards recipients, and Prairie Mountain Health Pop-Up Clinic COVID-19 vaccine schedule as recommended by the Deputy Mayor and City Manager. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Reel. Be it resolved now that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the April 6th, 2021 regular council meeting of the City Manager. Take it away.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lachlan. It's been a couple weeks since our last meeting, and they've been busy weeks, and we had a couple of stat holidays in there, so I hope everybody had a good Easter and spring weekend last weekend. In terms of updates, standard update that I've been providing is a COVID-19. So as of the writing of my report, which was April 1st, there was no changes to the public health orders that would warrant a change to any of the operations of the city facilities. So again, everything will be status quo in terms of the public accessing our facilities. The existing public health order is in effect until April 16th, and so we will continue to monitor what the province says are the rules and adjust accordingly. On April 1st, the province announced that they will again be extending the state of emergency for another 30 days, which they've been doing, I think, since almost the beginning of this into March or April of 2020 is when they started. And the last thing to note is that there are some further dates for the vaccine pop-up for Dauphin. And I'm not sure of the dates because I did hear this morning that there were some changes, so I won't say anything about those dates. But there is a number to book online, 1-844-626-8222. 1-844-626-8222. And so that's a number that residents can call to see if they qualify and if there's any available options for COVID-19 vaccines in Dauphin. The next topic I have here is some affordable housing. So as announced by Families Minister Rochelle Squires on March 29th, the City of Dauphin was awarded $714,600 to put toward affordable housing in the City of Dauphin. So $12 million of grant funding was made available to 10 municipalities in Manitoba to help address housing needs of vulnerable residents. The purpose of the money is to support the creation of affordable housing and or affordable home ownership opportunities in the municipalities. There are some guidelines for the distribution of the funds, and administration of the funding is responsibility of the municipalities. In the coming weeks, City Administration will be meeting to brainstorm ideas for programs and will be consulting with Council regarding possible programs on how to get that money into our community. The next item is Travel Manitoba Place branding. So the City of Dauphin and the Rural Municipality of Dauphin are partnering with Travel Manitoba to create a place branding strategy for the Dauphin area. We've been working together for just over a year, and recently we got to experience, and I don't want to say see what the brand is, but really experience the first look at the proposed brand, tagline, color scheme, and mock-up of marketing storyboards. We provided some feedback to Travel Manitoba and McKim Communications and are working with another local group of stakeholders to perfect that product. And so far the material is looking really, really good. Business park marketing proposals. So the economic development manager is leading the RM and the City of Dauphin through a process to select a consultant to market the Dauphin Business Park, or formerly called the Joint Industrial Park. Recently, we received 4 proposals for a marketing plan for the business park, and it was very interesting to see the capabilities of different marketing companies, both local and across Canada and to see ideas that they have for our area. We will be working through the final review of the proposals and expect to make a recommendation to the Dauphin Business Park Committee within a couple weeks. And the last item I wanted to point out is the 2020 budget planning. So the 2021 budget planning. So that process is definitely in full swing in City Hall and our city shop and fire department and water treatment plant and all of our airport, all of the facilities. Members of each department are participating in that exercise right now. Much of the legwork is complete in terms of the Director of Finance soliciting input from each department head. And now we're working on creating the large spreadsheets and memos to present to Council in the middle of April for discussion and final review. And that concludes my report.
Any questions of the city manager's report? We'll start with Councillor Reel.
Just 3 quick questions, Charla. Place branding, is that, who's involved in that? You say City and RM, is that Ember Tourism? Can you tell the community who's involved in that?
Yeah, certainly. So it is from the City of Dauphin, our marketing coordinator, Amber Kucher, our economic development manager, Brian Baker, myself, and from the RM of Dauphin, the CAO, Nicole Chakota, and the assistant administrator, Terrell Salsky. We did have last fall the stakeholder, and so Travel Manitoba is walking us through that process. It is at no cost to either of the municipalities, but there is a requirement in the first 3 years to put money towards using that place brand to get it out into the world or wherever we want to reach. So through to pay for ads and to pay for marketing our area. Travel Manitoba, with the help of 2 consultants, led our community as best as we could last fall through a stakeholder process, or stakeholder input process, and that was at the 8th Avenue Hall. I want to say September or October. We were able to have 50 people in a room, physically distant. So we did that, and based on a lot of the input from that exercise, that's what this first category or first look at it was based on.
Okay, thanks. I think, is that the one that they canceled? Then they were going to come here again, and then a few.
Yeah, before, when we started this program, it was definitely before COVID, and it would have been a much larger group. We did have to really focus the group down, and chose to invite people who wore several hats to make sure that we could have people looking at the material, I guess, back and fall in the stakeholder session, so that they can look at it from several different angles to make sure that we had the best possible input in that room.
Okay, and then wonder if you could, who's on the Business Park Marketing Proposal Committee?
So right now, it's actually the same 5 people that are doing the Travel Manitoba one, and then we will be working with the committee, and it's escaping me right now who is on the committee from our side, but I can get that information to you.
Okay, and then the last question I have is March 31st, we had put out our strategic plan on social media, and there was an hour, I think, or 2 there that people could call in. Did we get any feedback?
Yeah, so during that time, we did not have any live calls, but through the course of that couple hours, and actually in another, the day after, we did get 4 emails from members of the public who all thanked us for the work and for the plan, and had some different ideas of rollout and whatnot. So because that's still in the planning stages, we will be talking about that in our in-camera session later in the meeting.
Okay, and people can still call in, or what's the deadline for that?
There really is no deadline. I would say the sooner the better, so that if there is really good input, we can do some consideration of what that input might be. Right now, our plan is for the most part set, and the next phase of that is to implement the strategic plan, or how do we get that in motion? How do we actually make it come alive in our community? And so that's part of the discussions that we'll be having soon.
Okay, I think I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Eilers.
Okay, so part of ours was to have engagement by the community. I feel that for calls really didn't engage the community. I think that's, pretty unfortunate. Is there any avenue that we can do? I know with COVID, is there anything more that we can do to get the feelings and concerns that citizens have?
Yeah, I know. I was hoping for more. We did have some advertising of that opportunity on social media, in our newspaper, and on our radio. So, in an effort to continue to get out into the community, perhaps this next phase of the implementation plan, how do we the strategic plan is a lot of high level ideas. So it has the 5 categories, and then it has some, you know, drill down a few points in each category. But if there's something that our council would like to go out into the community and say specifically, perhaps about one particular goal or one particular category, to see how the community would like to make it happen, or ideas, whatnot, we can maybe do some more specific targeting or looking for information. Mhm.
Any other questions? Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah, just further for community involvement. You had said something about they had measured how many clicks were on there. Like there were what, 75 people had opened or something?
Yeah, so the original, or the source video, was on YouTube, and right off the bat there was 13 views when we kind of opened up to the public at 1 o'clock, or just after 1 o'clock. And by the time we ended that 2 hours, there was about 80 or 75 views of that video. So that was great. We got quite a bit. We got the word out, and it to maybe 75 sets of eyeballs. And then within a day, there was probably another 10 or 12 views of it. I did not look today to see what it's at, but there were people looking at it, so that was great to see.
So that's interesting that they're looking at the video and not the written part. So counselors, there may be a future for us here. So yeah, just saying. Okay. The other piece I wanted to mention, when you talked about the vaccines, what I understand right now is that when there are pop-up clinics like we have in Dauphin, that you have to phone to make an appointment. And if you're going to a super site, you can book them online. So that's the way it is right now. It's not to say it's not going to change. So if people are going online and not seeing pop-up clinics, then phone the number that City Manager Griffiths mentioned. So just because it's confusing, I know people are going, how come I'm, blah, blah, blah. So just trying to get the information out there.
Yeah, I think that, with the convenience of being online, it's nice to just go and hopefully it would be really quick and just click where you want to go. I think, though, with the province's plans, they don't know the future dates, all the future dates of every pop-up site. So most likely calling does give you the most accurate information of when we can, when a person could book the vaccines in Dauphin or any of the public pop-up sites.
Any more questions? I shall call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stikilo. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals 27,892 to 27,921. 30 checks in there for $131,150.03. Pretty straightforward. No voided checks in the current range. No voided checks in past ranges. And no electronic payments as well. Any questions regarding that, Councillor Bellemare?
Yeah, I see there's a new furnace for the water treatment plant. Was that an unexpected or expected?
It was unexpected, yes. And I just, as a total aside, not related, 200 views is what our strategic plan movie. I don't even call it a video anymore. We call it a movie at 200 views. That's where we're at right now.
Okay, any other questions? I shall call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stikilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the minutes and reports of the following committees: Intermountain Watershed District, their regular board meeting, which happened on February 17th of this year. The Vermilion River Sub-District regular board meeting of October 28th, 2020. Communities in Bloom, regular board meetings from October 6th and 29th in 2020, and then February 18th of this year. And Dauphin Recreation Services, regular board meeting on March the 31st of this year. Any questions regarding those items? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Juba, whereas the Terry Fox Humanitarian Award was established in 1982 to honor and advance the humanitarian legacy of Terry Fox, one of Canada's most recognized heroes. And whereas the scholarship associated with the award, which is valued at up to $28,000, is intended to encourage young Canadians to seek the high ideals that Terry Fox aspired to through the pursuit of higher education. And whereas only 16 students have been named to receive the scholarship out of over 700 applicants in 2021, be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence from the Terry Fox Humanitarian Award Program, advising that Tony Kashowski, resident of Dauphin, is one of those prestigious award recipients. So congratulations to her for sure. Al emailed me because he couldn't come to tonight's meeting. He made sure that I mentioned this and talk a bit about this. So really cool. Does anyone else have any questions or comments regarding that one? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried on that one. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, whereas on February 22nd, 2021, Council passed resolution number 2021-110 approving the lease between the City of Dauphin and Dauphin and District Handyvan Association Incorporated for the lease of office space at CN Station starting on April 1st, 2021. And whereas the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association Incorporated's current lease situation changed and they do not require the space at CN Station until August 1st of 2021. And whereas at their regular meeting of March 22nd of this year, as per the Municipal Act, Section 139, number 1 requirement, Council agreed to reopen resolution number 2021-110 for further consideration. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated March 19th, 2021 from Vern Richardson, Board President of the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association Incorporated, requesting the change in possession date for the office space at CN Station from April 1st, 2021 to August 1st, 2021. Further be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated March 31st, 2021 from the City Manager recommending the amendment of the lease agreement between the City of Dauphin and the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association to shift the 3-year lease term to August 1st, 2021 to July 31st, 2024. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the City Manager's recommendation and authorizes the revised lease agreement with the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association for space at CN Station to be signed and sealed on behalf of the City of Dauphin by the Mayor and City Manager. Any questions regarding that? I'll call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried. Moved by Councillor Reel, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, whereas the Canadian Parks and Recreation Association has secured Government of Canada funding via the Youth Employment and Skills Strategy program to support job placements for youth, particularly those facing barriers to employment. And whereas this CPRA Youth Employment Experience Program provides 100% wage subsidies for work placements that will create opportunities for youth to gain skills, knowledge, and experience in the community parks and recreation sector. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated March 26, 2021 from the Dauphin Recreation Services Operations Manager requesting a letter in support of DRS's application to the Canadian Parks and Recreation Youth Employment Program to fund 2 summer students to work on parks and rec projects in Dauphin. Further be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated April 1st, 2021 from the city manager recommending supporting DRS's efforts to hire 2 students through the CPRA Youth Employment Program. Further be it resolved that council recognizes the benefits or the benefit of providing parks and recreation opportunities for Doffin's youth and authorizes that a letter of support be provided in support of Dauphin Rec Services wage subsidy application. Any questions on that one? Councillor Bellemare.
So are those students going to be working with the Communities in Bloom program primarily?
These are actually 2 additional students from what the Communities in Bloom or any other student programming would or student hiring would be at Dauphin Rec Services. So this is in addition.
Excellent. And it looked like Communities in Bloom was doing some cleanup in the flower bed area across from the courthouse this morning. So early spring, and it's nice to see.
We did see that there was the Communities in Bloom truck. I don't know if this is the first week that they're hired, but yeah, it was great to see that.
Yeah, nice to have the warm weather back as well. Councillor Eilers.
I've just a question. I was reading through here and it says youth, but it doesn't give the age. And we've had now youth up to 29, we've had up to 19. So is there, like, I couldn't find it here unless I missed it, but it doesn't say the age here. Do you know what it would be?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that offhand, but I'll make a note to ensure that DRS finds out that information so that they hire appropriately.
What I'm saying is that you can assign.
I know sometimes youth is up to 29,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling less old all the time.
That's where I was going too. So I mean, I don't have any problem with whether it's 18 or 29, but it's kind of nice to know because your assignment of duties will differ too, and responsibilities as well.
Any other questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Stikilo, whereas the province of Manitoba has announced a $12 million investment in affordable housing, which provides funding for 10 municipalities to address the housing needs of vulnerable Manitobans. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated March 24th, 2021 from Joseph Bradbury, Chief Administrative Officer of the Manitoba Housing and Renewal Corporation, advising that as part of this investment, the City of Dauphin has been selected to receive $714,600 to assist with the development of affordable housing in our municipality and providing an agreement outlining the guidelines for the distribution of funds. Further be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated April 1st, 2021 from the city manager detailing the terms of this grant and highlighting the ways in which affordable housing initiatives align with the City of Doffin's strategic plan and recommending that this agreement be approved. Further be it resolved that council agrees with the city manager's recommendation and authorizes the grant funding agreement between the City of Dauphin and the Manitoba Housing and Renewal Corporation to be signed and sealed on behalf of the City of Dauphin by the city manager. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stikilo, seconded by Councillor Juba, whereas City of Dauphin utility construction crews have been utilizing a 1988 GMC Safari van to transport materials to site, and this vehicle has been deemed no longer safe for road travel. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated April 1st, 2021 from the utility foreman recommending the purchase of a 2011 Ford F-350 cargo cube van in good condition from Conquest Truck and Auto for a cost of $14,500 plus applicable taxes to replace the outdated 1988 GMC Safari utility van. Further be it resolved that council agrees with the utility foreman's recommendation and authorizes the purchase of the 2011 Ford F-350 cargo cube van from Conquest Truck and Auto, with the funds to come from the machinery reserve. Any questions on that one? Councillor Eilers.
I was looking at that. That was going to be my question, like what year it is, because it doesn't say that in here. And I just wanted to say that our Communities in Bloom van is 1991. So
Getting close. The van is almost as old as me. Any other questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Yes. Moved by Councillor Eilers, is seconded by Councillor Reel. Be it resolved that bylaw 03/2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend zoning bylaw 04/2015 regulating the use and development of land, that's 103 Oak Avenue, RSF to RMF, be now read a second time. And don't have to take this one down. So any questions before we move on to that? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? And that motion's carried. This one, I think we have to mark down. So moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that bylaw 03/2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend zoning bylaw 04/2015 regulating the use and development of land 103 Oak Avenue, RSF to RMF, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the Deputy Mayor and the City Manager. So any questions? Call the questions, and all in favor? Unanimous. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that bylaw 04/2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend development plan bylaw 14/2010, part of 100 Cruz Crescent residential to commercial, be now read a first time. Any questions on this one? Call the questions. All in favor? And motion carried there. Moved by Councillor Reel, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the invitation listed below. And that's the invitations to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM's annual conference and trade show. That's May 31st to June 4th, 2021. And that is all online, I believe, right? Yes, it is. So, and any questions regarding that? And Councillor Bellemare.
Okay, I understand when you go to conferences and you know you're moving around and all that kind of stuff, but why are these conferences all like 5 days? Like, you know, I mean, it's nothing we can solve here. I see other groups doing that as well. Like it's spread out. Like to me, you should just kind of condense it and I don't know. Just a nonsensical comment I just wanted to throw out there.
I agree. I actually got suggested to go to a conference. It was 4 days in May. I thought, oh my gosh, 4 days in May sitting and just looking at my computer. I don't think so. However, I looked at the agenda and it was actually the same 5 presentations repeated about 3 or 4 times each over those 4 days. So that I think it's so that people can maybe fit some of that into their schedule. And I don't know if FCM is doing the same way, but at first glance, I wasn't excited about a 4-day conference in May at my desk. Afterwards, I thought I can fit those 5 one-hour sessions into my 4 days and still participate. So,
Any other questions, Councillor Eilers?
I just wanted to comment, we also had normally a 3-day conference. And what they did is actually they used part of a Saturday and they did one on Monday. And so they've cut down. Of course, there was no breaks. Like normally you have breaks and there's a trade show and everything where time is spent. So we could go at our leisure and look at what was at the trade show and what they were offering. And it works quite well. And it really saves, like, I think it's maybe this is something for the future, but all the time that's spent traveling, you know, wherever they might be, I think this is a wonderful solution. Maybe not long lasting because you miss the interaction with people. And I think that's very important. But we got to realize that it's a very cost saving. And I go back to the carbon, how much flights and everything that's being saved. So at the end of the day, we get more exposure this way. There is a loss of the one-to-one and being able to interact with all the people. And I think we're looking forward to that because of the pandemic. But anyway, it is a cost saving. It does allow us to participate in a lot more things.
Any more comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call them, and all in favor? Motion carried. Councillor privileges. Do I have to do move by and? Yes, I didn't think so. Let's start with Councillor Bellemare. We'll go around the horn here. Take her away.
Okay, thank you. Since I attended the last council meeting on March 22nd, I attended a WAC board meeting and a WAC building committee meeting. Work is moving ahead on completing the repairs to the WAC caused by the flooding, and that was the result of some pipes freezing during that intense cold spell. And by the way, for the bird watchers in our community, the chimney swifts around the Watson and some of the downtown apartment buildings are arriving back now. This bird is on the endangered list in Manitoba. So it's neat that our community is able to provide suitable low-cost habitat, I just thought I'd throw that in, to assist the survival of this species. This evening, Mountain View School Division is holding a virtual information session at 7 p.m. about Bill 64, the proposed changes to Manitoba's education system. These changes are far-reaching and have huge implications for parents. The link is on the CKDM and the MVSD websites. If you're unable to attend, I think the link will likely be available afterwards. Kudos to my fellow councillors for your assistance in launching our city's strategic plan. And as mentioned, there are 200 people that have viewed it already, and it will be up there for the future. So please check it out if you haven't already. Dauphin is a happening city. And keep checking CKDM and the Herald for information for upcoming vaccination clinics in Dauphin. While there are 3 days planned in the next couple of weeks, there will be more dates coming so that everyone in the region can get their two doses. Stay tuned and hang in there. And also keep up the great work you've been doing with social distancing, wearing masks, and following all the other protocols. Soon we will have the upper hand on this virus. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Reel.
Thank you. March 22nd, I attended a crime prevention meeting, then the regular council meeting here at City Hall. March 23rd, I attended via Zoom a green energy conference through Mancia. That was a series of 3. The next one is tonight. We'll see if we make that one. March 26th, attended here at City Hall on we called a meeting for affordable housing. March 31st, attended the rec board meeting. That was a very short meeting, but they're at 8 in the morning. So good to see that things are happening and that the rec center is opening up. Just a reminder, I got caught in it. If you want to book some of the events, you have to phone in and book the pool in advance online. Not everybody's on social media, so make sure you get a chance to call in. There's some great things happening there. I just want to send my condolences to Dale McDuffie's family on his passing. He did a lot of the demolitions around town, and he will be missed, as well as congratulations, we mentioned earlier, to Tony Kashowski. What a great honor that is. And I just want to thank the city crew for their quick response on the graffiti to the cenotaph and clearing that up. Really great to see. Thanks for a job well done. And a reminder then to citizens, there seems to be an increase of graffiti and traffic with this nice weather around town, that if you do see crime taking place, to please contact the RCMP and make a complaint. If they don't know anything about it, we can't find those responsible. And therein mine's report.
Thank you. Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Okay. I attended the March 22nd regular council city meeting here at City Hall. March the 30th, I attended the Workplace Safety and Health Committee meeting here at City Hall. One of the main things that happened at this meeting is that we approved our budget for budget deliberations, and so and we were actually able to realize a lot of savings by having online courses as opposed to sending people to conferences for this fiscal year. So savings on the budget. Still, the educational opportunities were provided to city employees. And I too want to send condolences to the Dale McDuffie family on his sudden passing. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. I'll break from tradition. I'll go next. Just my report's pretty quick anyways. On March the 22nd, I attended the regular council meeting in person here at City Hall. On March 24th, I met with Ember at City Hall here, just from a tourism perspective and everything. Did an Easter message to the community, also recorded messages on the strategic planning for the radio all last week. That, of course, came out and seems to, like many councillors have been saying, been doing really well and received really well so far with over 200 views. And I also want to say thanks to the city staff, as Councillor Reel mentioned, for taking care of the graffiti at the cenotaph. They were also out and about this morning. It's one true sign of spring when they're out cleaning the ditches of all the dust and dirt from the snow. So they were out there again today. I know they've been doing it for a few days now, but it's great to see them out there doing that. That's a true sign of spring. And while I'm at it, the spring cleanup, in case you haven't heard, it's a little bit of ways yet, but May 17th on the Monday is the spring cleanup campaign. So I figured I'd throw that in there. And that's my report, and I'll throw it over to Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. Since March 22nd, the City Council meeting, on March 24th, I attended the CMNCP Zoom meeting on community safety. On March 26th, the team meeting of affordable housing, and March 29th, we were supposed to have a Zoom meeting, but I didn't get the information for the Indigenous, so I'll have to do a catch-up, I guess, on that. And I wanted to mention that spring cleanup is May 17th, and I also want to congratulate Tony Koszowski for her Terry Fox Humanitarian Award. She's always been involved in many activities, including 4-H. That's where I've had got to meet her and many of her activities there. It's great to see everyone enjoying the warm weather during spring and Easter break, and continue to do the social distancing and wearing your mask and washing your hands and following all the protocols. And hopefully we keep safe. We've got a good record so far, and I hope we continue with that. I also want to offer condolences to Brenda Maxwell's family on her passing. She's a long-time employee of the Dauphin Co-op. Brenda and Terry were both, her husband were very involved in many community events. They lived in Dauphin until moving to their, recently to their family homestead. I had the pleasure of working with Terry for a number of years as he worked in the hospital in the lab. And also I always wanted to say that Brenda was a wonderful person. I really enjoyed working with all her work that she did at the co-op, plus what she did out in the community. And also my condolences to McDuffie's family on his passing. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Councillor Stikilo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Going last here, always usually just a short report because everything's pretty much been mentioned, but I do have one thing that was not mentioned. March 22nd regular council meeting, I attended online. March 26th, council discussion about the affordable housing opportunity here at City Hall. As other councillors have mentioned, I was excited to see the long-awaited City of Dauphin strategic plan being launched on March 31st. So, as mentioned, if there is any feedback or any information that you want to get into to the city, please do so. The one thing Deputy Mayor spoke about yard cleanup being in May. Yard waste, though, starts next week, April 13th. So you can start putting your yard waste bins out if you are doing some work around your yard with the recent snow melt. So that's it. That ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Stikilo. Yeah, that is earlier than usual. That's exciting. I was just going to say, I know there's a ton of people online watching right now, but make sure you get outside and enjoy the great weather that we've been having for sure. It's been awesome to see. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and yeah, go ahead.
I forgot to mention one thing. I wanted to say that we're tentatively are planning a chip and soil day on May 29th. I know that Deputy Mayor Christian Laughlin forgot to mention it in his report as well as I did.
That's true. It's on my calendar at home, and I'm very excited for that day. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Real. Be it resolved that council be recessed at 6:00.